It is a busy day in the NFL world, and I don't want you to miss a thing. So if the Falcons make any more trades or moves, make sure you are staying tapped in by subscribing to the channel. Now, that being said, let's get into a trade we already had come down the wire not too long ago. As Ian Rappaport tweeted out, the Falcons are trading for some defensive help, bringing in Eagles defensive tackle Kentavius Street in a late round pick swap. It's a conditional 2024 six rounder if he plays in at least 6 games in exchange for a 2025 seventh rounder. Now, I personally, hand up, did not know a whole lot about Mr. Kentavius Street, so I figured I'd fill you guys in as well. Former fourth round pick by the San Francisco 49ers back in 2018. From the 49ers, he went to the Saints briefly, where you might recognize his name, and then he went to the most recent stop in his career, the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, with the Eagles this year, he has not had a very big role on their defense. He's only played in 17% of the defensive snaps. They drafted Jalen Carter. They've got pretty much every Georgia Bulldog on that defense. So no real spot for Street, which made it a pretty easy trade for the Philadelphia Eagles to come to grips with. And for the Falcons, they have their Grady Jarrett replacement, right? Unfortunately, Grady Jarrett lost for the season after tearing his ACL in Tennessee last Sunday. And so Street comes in and adds some good depth and some good rotational help to that defensive line. In his career, though, 6.5 sacks, 13 tackles for loss. He had 3.5 sacks last year, so he's been a good spark plug player at times. He can definitely get after the quarterback. But there's no question that he won't be able to replace Grady Jarrett, right? He won't be able to make up for that 1.5 sacks, the 2 tackles for loss, and what he does to wreck the interior rushing game and get after the quarterback. Now, when we look at Atlanta's front five, I don't think he comes in and starts day one. I think you're going to see LaCal London remain the starter in replace of Grady Jarrett, assuming London is healthy enough to play this Sunday against the Vikings. But I think that ultimately Atlanta would realize we can't replace Grady Jarrett, but we can do our best to add some more depth, get fresh legs in there, and try and recreate a Moneyball style through 2 to 3 other players. And for a midseason trade, you're not going to do a whole lot better. Like, you just can't go find a new Grady Jarrett on Halloween Day, right? Aaron Donald is not walking through that door. So you make you do the best you can, and you go out and you get someone that can come in and bring some good rotational help and bring some good depth to this defensive line. So let me know what you think of the trade, though. A, B, C, D, or F. I don't think this is a big enough move to give up a A grade or an F grade. We're talking about a day 3 pick swap. So for that reason, I give it a C, right? It's kind of right down the middle. You didn't take out your driver necessarily and go for the green, but you took out your trusty 5-iron. You laid up right nice in the middle, and you'll have a good shot at a par. And so that's all you can ask for a day 3 pick swap at a defensive tackle. Now, before we get to the rest of the trade rumors, today's show is being supported by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is a daily fantasy sports app where all you have to do is pick more or less for 2 to 6 player stat projections, and you can win up to 25 times your money on any entry. Prize Picks is super simple and user-friendly. I spend 1 to 2 minutes on the app every Sunday and Monday and Thursday, any day that ends in a Y pretty much, because you can get such great opportunities to take 25 times your money from a 2 to 6 player stat entry. So here's what I'm rolling with for this upcoming Sunday's games. Remember, there's a Germany game, so you get to wake up to some football. And I like the less on Tua's passing yards at 286.5 in the Tyreek Hill Bowl. And I like the more for Patrick Mahomes at 295.5. I think Mahomes is going to bounce back after that Broncos loss. He's going to have some vengeance. They're going to be throwing the football all over the field. So those are my selections for Prize Picks this week. You can ride with me. You can fade me. But go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. The link for that is in the comments and description of today's video. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy. Moving on to some trade conversations now, with the NFL trade deadline being today, 4 p.m. Eastern. Atlanta going into it 4-4 with the easiest remaining strength of schedule, which signals the Falcons having a good opportunity to go to the postseason. So maybe bring some cavalry in, bring some reinforcements in, add some new guys to your ranks to try and make a good postseason push. Now, they have got plenty of draft ammunition to use in trades, their own first, their own second, a third, two fourths, one of those fourths being the Jags from the Calvin Ridley trade, but that could be upgraded to a third if Ridley plays a certain amount of games and snaps and whatnot, a fifth, and 3 6-rounders. Now, what does Atlanta need? I would say edge rusher would be a good spot, defensive tackle, although with the Kentavius Street trade, maybe they feel like they are good to go at that spot moving forward, and then wide receiver, because you can never have enough wide receivers in this day and age of the NFL. Now, which edge rushers are out there for a trade? Brian Burns feels unlikely given the fact that he plays in the division. Danielle Hunter would be awesome, I think. You probably only get him for the rest of the year, although maybe Atlanta would want to lock him up with a new contract. I think it would cost you a first rounder. The Vikings are not looking to trade Danielle Hunter. They need to be blown away. Carl Lawson, I could see returning back to his home state. Yannick Ngakoue, he's played for almost every single team right now. He's like the Nate Robinson of the NFL. Maybe he gives Atlanta a go. We got Preston Smith, and then you got a pair of Washington Commanders defenders, Montes Sweat and Chase Young. Let's take a closer look at Montes Sweat, though, because a report came out from Mike Florio over at Pro Football Talk that the Falcons have offered a third-round pick for Commanders defensive end Montes Sweat. I think either Montes Sweat or Chase Young is traded today. Which one is more likely? I would lean towards Montes Sweat, right? Chase Young is a little bit younger. He has that higher ceiling, winning NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year, second overall pick in the draft. Montes Sweat, though, quietly is a really good Robin. In fact, he's kind of been more of a Batman than Robin to Chase Young while they've been together in Washington. 6.5 sacks this year through 8 games. He's on pace to break his single-season sack record. So if Atlanta wants to add more edge rushers, if they feel like we've got a good amount of edge rushers, we're getting solid production from Bud Dupree, Arnold Ebiketie, Lorenzo Carter, but if we want to kick it up a notch, if we really think that this is a roster that can go on a deep run into December and into January and whatnot, it can never hurt to have more edge rushers, especially with Grady Jarrett out for the rest of the season. That's your leading sack getter from last season, 6 sacks a year ago. So Atlanta has to find a way to get after the quarterback, and Montes Sweat would come to Atlanta and immediately be their number one edge rusher. So with that being said, before I let you guys go and enjoy the rest of your NFL trade deadline day, who do you want Atlanta to trade for? Drop a name in the comment section. Don't be afraid. No one's going to come back and get up old receipts if you're wrong. Don't be afraid to drop down in the comment section and give me a name as to who you'd like to see Atlanta go out and trade for. That's going to do it for us on today's show. I'll be seeing you guys later, probably, I hope, talking about a Montes Sweat trade to the Atlanta Falcons. That would be awesome. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a thing.